The Chief Justice of our country, Justice CJI Chandrachud, keeps Ganpati at his house, invites the Prime Minister, and both of them in full public view and also with video, and proudly display the fact that they are conducting the Aarti together. And immediately, from within the judiciary to the executive and across the board, those who thought that CJI Chandrachud is our man, who talks about gender fluidity, are wondering how can he do the Aarti with Ganesha, with the Prime Minister. The separation of powers, constitution, सबकी धज्जियां उड़ गई हैं. Rahul Shivshankar, how is that possible?
Look, I'll tell you.
It's never happened in our 75-plus-year-old history of our country at all.
No, of course it's happened in the past. There have been interactions, some of them not even very well documented and detailed, between Prime Minister Nehru and the Chief Justice back then. You've also had, of course, the Bombay High Court Chief Justice M.C. Chagla writing in a letter to Nehru that he was proud of the Prime Minister and we should be as a country proud that he has such a great international status. And there have been Justice M. Anantanarayanan of the Madras High Court in a defamation case who had described Nehru as a, quote, greatly esteemed national leader, unquote. And there have, of course, also been some judges who have extolled Modi's virtues also. But setting all that aside, the reason this is becoming a bit of a talking point is because it suits certain people to constantly question the independence of the judiciary. I don't know if you have noticed, but over the last 9-10 years, there have been various phrases that have been used by certain people in this country to suggest that the judiciary has been suborned. It's doing the bidding of the government. Optics like this feed into that narrative. Nothing succeeds better or spreads faster than a bit of optically fueled fake news, right? Dekho, dono ek saath hain. 3 months left for the CJI's tenure. 2 months, okay. There's something cooking. Koi naukri to mil raha hoga. And if you say, how can you say this?
One second.
If you say, how can you say this? They'll say, but Mr. Gogoi.
Yeah, but that's not to take away that.
Was he rewarded for? So now we have to ask. That's why you have opposition leaders.
So that's not to take away from the fact that post-retiral benefits
are
a problem.
Post-retiral Where is this coming from? And can you suddenly sort of say that, oh...
We don't know if Justice Chandrachud will become whatever he becomes post-retirement. That's you know, let's deal with that 2 months later. I have a different take on this whole thing. I don't think the issue is about separation of powers. It's not like the curtains have just fallen off just because the Prime Minister went to the Chief Justice's house and performed Aarti, was there probably 15 minutes or half an hour. I think the reason why there is a meltdown on Twitter in a certain ecosystem is because CJI Chandrachud, who's this liberal poster boy, held up as this liberal poster boy, is seen doing mantras. Is seen doing mantras. He's seen doing doing the bell and the Aarti for Ganesha in the presence of the Prime Minister. He is doing everything that is Hindu, which is the problem that the ecosystem is having with him. If this was a chai pe charcha...
He'll become a co-yajman, you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. If this was a chai pe charcha, I don't think there would have been this much outrage. The outrage is over the fact that he's doing a puja in the presence of the Prime Minister.
It is such a travesty. And which lot is this? The people who are trying to put this out and who are pointed to tweet, have they forgotten their own history? Dr. Vikram Seth's mother, Justice Leela Seth, in her own book has written that she was superseded as the first woman judge in the Supreme Court and preferred, and a Fatima Bibi who had retired in a lower court in Kerala was preferred over her. And she was asked, and she came after retiring, she was brought back and she was appointed into the Supreme. By who? Because they thought that they will get the Kerala Muslim votes. The Congress party thought they'll get the Kerala Muslim. So this lot, and they are the ones who said, oh, ye hamara aadmi hai. That's why they were cheering up for Justice CJI Chandrachud, right? Hamara. So what do you mean by hamara aadmi hai? So there's no partisanship there.
And there are, of course, photos of iftar.
No, 2009.
Between
CJI Balakrishnan.
Yes,
CJI Balakrishnan.
Who also actually got quite a plush.
No. What about Justice Islam? Justice Islam from Guwahati, career congressman.
Yeah.
Won the local elections. He fought the elections. Then he was even sent to the Rajya Sabha. After the Rajya Sabha, he was asked to resign from the Rajya Sabha post and he was appointed to the High Court of Guwahati, and then brought into the Supreme Court.
No, so
one of
these
the
are-
oldest judges to be appointed in the Supreme Court at the age of 63. 62 is
No,
the age
so
of retirement in the High Court, and at 63 was appointed to the Supreme Court.
Anand,
And you're saying separation of power.
These are two separate issues.
Yeah.
One is superseding, which
No, I'm
happens-
talking about separation of powers. Executive
happens
wielding
in-
influence over the judiciary.
Yeah, yeah.
A. N. Ray.
No,
What did Indira Gandhi do with A. N. Ray?
There are judges who are overlooked, and there are junior judges who are appointed as senior and so on. That's a separate matter. I think the issue, as far as the problem that I have is, Justice Chandrachud now has 2 months before he retires. He's going to author about anywhere between half a dozen to a dozen judgments, because he's on benches, which he has to give judgments before he exits, right? All of those judgments are now going to be viewed from the prism of this Ganesh Arti.
No, why should it be viewed?
It
No,
will
then,
be.
then there is
It
a
will
problem
be.
with the
Whether you
perception.
like it or not, it will be.
No, like it or not, then it's a problem with those people who are going to judge him based on this judgment.
Particularly in those matters where the central government is a party.
How does
and
that?
if the verdict
no,
is
so
in favor
that
of,
case, in that case,
it is going to be viewed, whether you like it or not.
No, so we are all right with certain people who are supposed to be individual, independent lawyers of eminence, but they are also MPs of certain political parties, seen to be very close with the Chief Justice, and they are arguing those cases in front of the Chief Justice's bench, but then it is all impartial. At that time, nobody should pick up this moral compass and say, hey, what the hell is going on? Nobody is going to ask this question.
And it's
the same people who were standing in 2019 and saying, postpone this, you better not deliver a judgment right now, postpone this until after the 2019 elections, and they are independent.
And it's also,
as they are lawyers, they are independent, but they are politicians, that's independent, and whether they wine and dine with the current Chief Justice and they play golf with the Chief Justice, that should not matter, because that's different and this is different.
Yeah, no, of course,
but you do one Aarti and then your whole judgment is judged.
But
You know, they should have played golf. They should have played golf. I don't think there would have been this much outrage.
Well, you know,
No, this is
I don't
hypocrisy.
know, they might have
Absolute hypocrisy.
They might have done better.
It's the
keeping their cards close to their chest as they play
No, why
poker.
hide? Why hide?
But
See,
hang
it's
on.
the basic right of everybody, including
true,
you
true,
and me, whether I'm a Darwinian atheist, whether I'm a conformist, whether I'm a Methodist, whether I'm a dharmic believer, a non-believer, whatever I am, I have the right to practice what I believe under the Constitution, irrespective of what position I hold. So if I'm practicing that,
Also,
how can
on
you
that
judge
point
me?
about the judgments being sort of looked through this, yes, you might be right. That in any case is happening. It doesn't require a joint puja to actually, you know, create more of a doubt. But he's also part of benches there. So it's not as if he's the only judge sitting there, right? And yeah, okay, he could
No,
have a
he was
casting
part of the
vote in
same
a
bench
3 or
that
5
decided
judge
on
or-
Ram Janmabhoomi,
That's
no?
right. So exactly.
So
So
many believe he only authored the judgment. So-
many people said that.
Yeah.
So as it was in pretty anonymously written judgment. But fundamentally, I think that, look, it's a bit of a non-issue. Right?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a non-issue.
Ma-
Unfortunately, in our polarized world today, I would have thought that, you know, we should have more of these. I wish Rahul Gandhi
Yes.
and the Prime Minister could actually perform a joint
Sir, there are
joint-
instances in
joint-
the time
joint,
of Lal Bahadur
ceremony
Shastri.
at the Ram Mandir or, you know, whichever mandir anywhere around in the country. I would have thought
Please
that
pick up the author. Please pick up the autobiography authored by the former Chief Justice. To the best of my memory, during the time of Lal Bahadur Shastri, the Prime Minister and the Chief Justice used to sit and talk each other, and the Prime Minister would call the Chief Justice at that, and the Chief Justice himself has written. The Home Minister would regularly visit the Chief Justice. Almost on a daily
Yeah, it's
basis.
also stupid
Now
to
imagine
think
Amit
that,
Shah
look,
going to Justice
the Prime
Devan
Minister
Chandra, what
can't
will happen?
actually can't pick up the phone at any other time and have a back channel
You know,
with
yeah,
the
can
CJI.
I-
He only
can I-
needs
can
to
I-
do
can
it
I-
and then
can I
go,
ask,
"Wow,
Why would
these
in
can
my
happen."
country,
You know, we
in any,
should-
especially in India, why should
record-
anybody have a problem with this?
You know, we should record an episode of Take 3, 2 or 3 months down the line after Chief Justice Chandrachud retires. And if or not, he gets a post-retiral position, then we should revisit this conversation.
but Zaka,
because then it's a different conversation
Zaka,
altogether. Then it's a completely different conversation altogether.
Zaka, tell me,
Yes,
are
there
you
is.
are you right now in your head judging Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and whatever he gets because he performed his Aarti?
No, no, it's
if
not a
they
question
really
of
wanted
no,
to give
no,
him
no.
something,
There is
they
a
could have,
no, no,
they
no,
could
no.
have done
I
it
have a
without.
problem.
Why
I have a
do it?
problem with judges being made members of the Rajya Sabha 2 months or 6 months after they've retired. That is a problem.
No,
So
but this has
I'm
happened.
sorry.
This has
I-
happened.
That's
this
where
has
I draw the
No,
line.
no, but this
I
has
do
happened
too.
right
I do
since
too. No,
right
but-
since the
but
first
Anand,
government.
we all do. We all
This
do.
has happened.
It's
right
just
since-
too close for comfort.
But this has happened right
There should
since
be
the
a cooling
government,
off period
right
for
since,
about- no, that might
right
be
since
so,
the
but
formation of the first government
That's
from
okay.
Nehru's time
I
it happened.
agree.
You have written
I
about
agree.
it.
I agree, my dear friend. I'm not denying it. I'm just saying that there has to be a cooling off period. And if it's happened in the past, doesn't mean it's right. Now, just second point, I just want to make a very quick interjection. Do you know that 90% of the so-called sinecures are given to retired judges. Why? Because under the law, some of those tribunals, etc., have to be headed by retired justices. They're not open to the general public. So, if he's not being pulled into the political theatre, we should not really have a problem. If he is,
No, who are the people
It
who are
is-
having
it
problem?
is-
Who
it is- it
have
is-
pulled people out
it
of the
is a
political
talking
theatre
point,
into
it
the
is
judiciary and
problematic.
vice versa, brazenly as they felt like. And today they are saying the judiciary is compromised. Hello, he is one of the most articulate, brilliant minds and illuminated minds that we have. If the government of the day makes use of him in any constitutional position, after he commits his, you may say, all right, 9 months, 1
so
year,
I'm
1.5
more
years.
interested
What's
in
the
the
time?
conversation that happened between father and son after this meeting and after the public reaction. It's not possible that they wouldn't have thought this through. The public reaction, the way this meeting would have been sort of viewed,
See,
they would have thought this
I
through.
am
But what
very
would
clear,
Abhinav
in our
Chandrachud have told
country-
his father after this
In
and when he
our
was reading
country,
Twitter
if
himself?
we-
That's
if
a more
we
interesting
start judging-
conversation, quite frankly.
If we start judging, we should actually commend both the CJI and the Prime Minister, who are seen to be at opposite ends of the ideological spectrum, that they're coming together and worshipping a Vignahatra, praying that, okay, you remove all the obstacles and hurdles in our path so we can
I
do
think
good for the
both of
country.
them were
Look at it
praying
like
to
that.
God
Why
for
can't we
forgiveness
think
for
of it
not
like-
being able to do justice to the Hindu causes that was delayed.
See, everybody can interpret it like that,
delayed
but
beyond,
to
delayed
judge-
beyond redemption.
No. So if judgment is passed on any of the judgments that he is going to author over the next 2 months, based on which way the result goes, then the first question I'm going to ask is, then what about those who are arguing these cases on behalf of somebody and they pushed for hearing in front of his bench or somewhere else and expedient hearings because they were trying to leverage on the proximity that they have with the Chief Justice of India? Then what about their integrity? Who are they to talk about all of this?
Well, judges should be held to a higher standard than lawyers.
So lawyers can hold judges and play golf with them and expect expedient hearing. Anyway, the Chief Justice and the judiciary functions on its own, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody else gets judged by the judiciary, but nobody can monitor the judiciary.
And
That's
Vinod,
also
if I've said
another
anything
story.
contemptuous, please
Another
spare me.
story. Another story. That's all we have time for in this edition of Take 3.